Hey sports fans, my name is Ed, and I've spent more than 20 years traveling North America and the world going to sporting events. I've chronicled all my travels on my website, Itinerant Fan. It has guides to all the stadiums in the major North American sports leagues, plus some college stadiums and even some major venues around the world. Plus, it has travel tips, guides to how to plan a sports vacation, ways to save money on travel, and much, much more. Check it out sometime if you're into traveling for sports. Now let's check out what watching hockey is like in the Beehive State. If you're a hockey fan, then you know the NHL's newest market is Salt Lake City, Utah. The Utah Hockey Club, which took over the franchise once known as the Arizona Coyotes, plays its games in the city's downtown arena, the Delta Center. Being a huge hockey fan, I just had to travel to Utah during the franchise's first season in Utah to see a game for myself. If you're watching this after the 2024-25 NHL season, it's expected the club will have rebranded itself with a new nickname to be determined. But for this first season, Utah Hockey Club it was. As a visitor to Salt Lake City, getting to the arena was easy for me. I just walked because I was staying in a hotel downtown. There are brand name hotels as close to the Delta Center as across the street, and many more within a radius of just a few blocks. For people driving in, there's also lots of nearby surface parking lots with reasonable event parking rates. But as a public transportation nerd, I'm also happy to see that Delta Center is served by Salt Lake City's light rail system, known as TRAX. You can visit many points of interest around the city using light rail, and a $5 all-day pass lets you ride the train for your heart's content for a full day. The downtown area is also considered a free fare zone, so if you're not going far but don't want to walk, you can also jump on a train for a quick ride. Very convenient. The closest station to Delta Center is helpfully called simply Arena Station, and it's right next to the north side of the arena. If you're looking for something to do pre-game, downtown is your oyster. There are plenty of places to grab a bite and maybe a beer if you just walk around. Delta Center is most known, of course, as the home of the NBA's Utah Jazz, the first major pro sports franchise to call Salt Lake City home. And reminders of that are everywhere, from the statues of the franchise's two greatest players, John Stockton and Karl Malone, to the nearby streets named after those two greats. I went to a Jazz game during a previous visit to the city. This was about 7 years prior, and the building was known by a different name at the time. And I have to say, I was really impressed with the setup for basketball. That's because the building was designed specifically for hoops. Now, a hockey rink is about twice as long as a basketball court, and shoehorning a rink into a basketball-specific venue usually leads to some, shall we say, interesting configurations. And no, I don't mean that in a positive way. For this visit, I was really interested in seeing how they went about making the fan experience as optimal as possible for hockey, considering what is decidedly a suboptimal situation. When you get your first glimpse inside the arena, you'll be able to tell pretty quickly how the hockey rink cuts into the natural shape of the seating bowl. When arenas have done this in the past, they usually compromise just one end. Here's a picture I took from a visit to Barclays Center in Brooklyn during the New York Islanders' time playing there in the mid-2010s. Does that off-centered video board bother you as much as it does me? Yeah, that's what I thought. At Delta Center, they kept the rink centered, but the drawback of that approach is now obstructed view seats are created at both ends. I'll get more into that in a bit, especially because I don't want to harp on it. Taking that away, the rest of the fan experience is terrific. I know it was only season 1, but the fans in Utah were clearly jazzed to have a hockey team in town. Yeah, pun intended, sorry. And for being over 30 years old, Delta Center is quite nice in just about every other way you can think of. It's been said that the long-term plan is not to build a new arena, but to renovate this one to better accommodate hockey. It's an important decision to make, not only because of the NBA and NHL, but also because the Winter Olympics are coming back to Salt Lake City in 2034. I'm very interested to see how they do that and solve the issue of the obstructed view seats, but I can see why they don't want to just tear this place down. So I had a seat in the upper deck at center ice for this game, but I also spent a lot of it watching from a standing room area at one end of the ice just to get a feel of the challenges. Sure enough, from this vantage point you can't see the net closest to you, and when the action heads this way, it's now you see them, now you don't. The fans sitting in these areas didn't seem to mind though. Obviously when the action goes into the near side, you just look up the screen and track what's happening there. And when goals are scored, you still know it. Here's how it looks when the home team scores. Delta Center does a nice job utilizing its available spaces to create spots for people to hang out when they're not watching the game. For example, they have this fan zone above the upper tier seats that includes a bar and a kids' play area, not pictured. As for food, they've embraced mobile ordering here, and that's what I use to pick up some grub at intermission. One thing to look out for here is what's called the Mountain Menu, which is a family-friendly collection of items like hot dogs, popcorn, and bottled water that sell for just $2 and $3. If you want to order off this menu, go find a concession stand called Summit Snacks on the mobile ordering site. Since I don't come here regularly, I wanted to try something you won't find at every stadium. I wound up going for Cup Bop, which serves Korean barbecue bowls. I'm guessing most people don't associate Korean barbecue with Utah, but this chain started off as a food truck in Salt Lake City, so I consider it local cuisine. And hey, the bowl was pretty darn tasty. After eating, I went back to my standing room perch to watch the rest of the game. Utah rallied in the third period and won this one in overtime, which was pretty exciting. And no, I didn't see the winning goal except for on the screen, but no one around me seemed to mind, so that was a pretty fun moment. I'm excited to see what the future holds for Utah Hockey Club. Whatever they're known as down the road, and whether they're playing at Delta Center or in the brand new arena, I'm pretty sure I'll make my way back again so I can see everything that's changed. If you've gotten a chance to see a hockey game at Delta Center, let me know. Leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we'll be posting a lot more stadium and travel videos. And if you're looking for more info on Delta Center or other major sports venues, head to itinerantfan.com. Happy travels!